or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find him online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports and it's brought to you by Conecuh Sausage, a true Southern flavor since 1947 and the official smoked sausage of the Crimson Tide. Buy online at ConecuhSausage.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On yesterday's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we were joined by Alabama football tight end C.J. Dupree.
I think the tight end in this offense with Coach DeBoer really has to be able to do it all. You know, we're spread out a lot at number 1, 2, or 3. I mean, we're in the core. We're in the backfield sometimes. So I think you have to just be able to do it all and understand what role you have. You know, as a tight end, you have to know the offensive line scheme. You have to know the play call, what the quarterback sees. You have to know the safety level. You have to know everything about the defense. You have to know the receiver routes because you can be put in any position on the offense. So just knowing how to do it all and like properly executing your job is a huge thing to be a successful tight end in this program.
I'll have more in a moment.
Favorite jeans, favorite shirt. Got Conecuh sausage and I'm firing it up. Yeah, everybody knows it's how I get my grill on. You can smell that flavor up and down the road. It's a little taste of heaven, and everybody knows. It's how I get my grill on. Conecuh sausage. It's just a little taste of heaven.
Join us tonight for Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show, live from Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. Chris Stewart is your host, and the show will begin at 6 p.m. and feature the first in-person appearance this season of Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer. Hey Coach is available to listen to across the radio network, as well as a video stream on all Alabama Athletics social media platforms. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Conecuh Sausage. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There we are. We're back. We're live. We're brand new. It is Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Happy Wednesday morning, everyone. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Wednesday. And it is the week 1 edition of college football, both Alabama and Auburn in action. And if Alabama is in action on this college football season, we are back. And we're back, and he's back. It can only mean one thing, and one thing only. It is time. We had to figure this one out. Our 7th grader prognosticator is back with us for another season. The one, the only, big drum roll, please, for Grady, the Greek.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, when you've been doing it this many years, he's now what they call an institution.
He is.
He's become a part of the fabric of our show. When college football season is here on Wednesdays to kick off, it's always time for Grady the Greek.
He's got to get it in before he goes to school.
Or the bus or whatever.
Yeah.
We can't make him late. I mean, eventually he might have AirPods on the bus, but we
now
don't know.
he's playing middle school football,
He
so
is.
he can't be late because, I mean, he's got to make sure he's at school on time so he can play football.
Grady, good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing, dude?
I'm doing good. How about y'all?
We're doing well. Your voice sounds deeper, so I know
Yeah.
you're growing. So your dad was telling us you're on the mend. Are you going to be healthy for the start of the season, Grady?
No, I'm not.
Ugh.
Oh,
Dang
boy.
it. So how many more days, weeks until you're back in the lineup, man?
I mean, I don't really know. I go this Thursday, and hopefully I'll be clear.
Okay, cool.
So
And now
we're getting there.
So
We're
how many
getting there.
games have you guys had your first game?
Uh-huh.
You have? How many? So have y'all played one game?
Yes, sir, we have.
How'd you do?
Not really good.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
For those that
No
don't
worries.
know, Grady has playing 7th grade football.
Yeah,
He's
He's
on the injury reserve list.
Yeah, that's why,
right
yeah.
now. He's a
hopefully
little
getting off
banged up.
Thursday
Yep.
tomorrow.
But
Yeah.
anyway, that'll leave plenty of time for you to
Yeah.
watch Alabama and Western Kentucky. It's the Kalen DeBoer era officially getting underway inside Bryant Denny Stadium. And Grady, this is your first pick without Nick Saban as head coach.
Is there going to be just one pick or more?
It's just gonna be one.
Okay, just
right,
Bama.
so
All right, we're just
Alabama,
doing Bama,
Western Kentucky.
here.
What's
All right.
Grady the Greek feeling?
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be pretty tough without the goat there. I mean, it's gonna be hard. My sources tell me right now that our right tackle, it's gonna be a little struggle. But I'm looking for Milrow to do pretty good. So yeah.
And so
what's the score, bud?
Bama 44 and Western Kentucky 13.
Okay, wow. See, I've been anywhere from 41 to 48 to 13. So Grady and I are on the same wavelength. And so we always ask you kind of for a player of the game or a standout of the game. Who in your mind in this first chapter of the Kalen DeBoer era, who you think is going to stand out?
Milrow.
Oh, gotcha.
Jalen Milrow.
So
All
Jalen
right.
Milrow. And now we have one more question for those that might be interested. Grady, will you be attending the game?
I will not.
Okay. So we could have had some people looking out for Grady the Greek.
Yep.
Just making sure.
Well, in Grady the Greek fashion, who are you going to give the shout outs to
There you
this
go.
morning?
Shout out for the first show of the year.
Coach Saban.
Oh, okay. Nice. The GOAT.
Was that a long day, Grady, when you found out Nick Saban was retiring?
It was. Yes.
Okay.
Well, we hope you get good news tomorrow, man. We hope you're back in the lineup over there at Hartselle Middle School and playing for those future Tigers over there at Hartselle High. And we're glad you're on the mend. And good pick there, 44-13 Bama.
Yep.
He's got Alabama right on that cover line, and he's got Jalen Milrow as his standout. Grady, we appreciate it. Have a good day at school, man.
Okay, bye.
That was Grady the Greek, kind enough to join us. And think about it, though. I mean, Grady now is in 7th grade. There's a lot of 7th graders. Oh, not a lot. Pretty much every 7th grader. Nick Saban is all they know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's it. I mean, just think about that.
Grady's not a teenager yet, so that is all he's known.
We talk about, living the era of Nick Saban and going through it and watching. I mean, we were adults, but these kids are growing up, and that's all they've ever known is Nick Saban to be the head coach at Alabama.
That's right.
So, 256-576-4977.
I wasn't that fortunate, but I mean, we still made it through.
Well, see, I've only known 2 head coaches in my whole entire life.
Yeah.
Hayden Fry and Kurt Ferentz.
Right.
That's it. There have only been 2 head coaches. Well, there's 3, but I don't remember the one before Fry.
Iowa, the cult of mediocrity.
Yes. Where
every now and then a
literally
standout season.
8 wins is, hey, we're going to celebrate 8 wins. Let's give the coach another 50 years on his contract.
Well, I mean, I will say there is a lot of stability at Iowa. I mean, think about it.
I mean, it's
the basketball
kind of ironic.
coaches.
It's kind of ironic that Iowa wears the Pittsburgh Steelers football
But
uniforms.
Hayden Fry did that on purpose, you
He
said.
did, because Pittsburgh was the team that was winning. They were the standard. He wanted
What
to
was Iowa's
make it
colors
look like
before
that.
he did that?
They were black and gold. Iowa's colors
Okay.
were still black and gold, but the
Gotcha.
uniforms were not anywhere near this.
Okay.
Yes. And so they adopted this.
Their
But
uniforms
Pittsburgh-
haven't changed much at all over the last 40 or 50 years either,
No.
after Hayden Fry did that, correct?
No. Now they still wear those alternate jerseys. I mean, they're into it. They wear the all black sometimes,
gotcha.
and they wear they wear some odd different things.
Yes.
But no, the uniforms have stayed the same.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh doesn't have a lot of head coaches. Pittsburgh's only had a couple head coaches. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher.
Since Chuck Noll, I mean, the Steelers are in the NFL. I mean, you're talking about Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
That's all they've had.
Same uniforms, 3 head coaches. Iowa, same uniforms, 2 head coaches. See, there's a lot of similarities there. All right. Have no idea why I went there with any of that. But anyway, let's go out to the phone lines. Mark from Spring Hill. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
Morning, guys. Hey, I just want to do a little piggyback. I had a call yesterday I made, and some lady called in and kind of threw me under the bus, and you guys agreed with her. So I wanted to give a quote from Coach Saban at the end of game day, if I could. He actually said what I said yesterday. He said, like I said before, I've got Georgia and Texas. Someone's got to prove they can beat Georgia, so give me Georgia. So just for a quick repeat of yesterday, my question, and I'll do it again, is did he forget that Alabama has dominated Georgia, or is it that he's continued down this line of rat poison, reverse psychology? Because I hope it's that, because if I'm Alabama, I don't know. I mean, as a fan, I didn't like what he said. And then third, or is it just that every year has a life of itself, and he believes that until someone proves they can beat them this year, I got to go with Georgia.
There you go. There you go. You hit it on the head. It's every year of college football takes a life on its own. And until someone this year proves that they can beat Georgia, right now, Georgia the favorite to win the league.
And in pregame in Ireland, they all thought Florida State was a top 5 team. Does anybody believe that right now? No. Does that mean that they might not be by the end of the season? Could completely turn around. Because look, Alabama barely beat South Florida last year. But right now, Florida State does not look like a top 5 team. So you have to wait until you see these teams. That's why I hate preseason rankings. That's why Nick Saban honestly doesn't even like making predictions like this. Nobody really does. You don't know until you see somebody play. I still say you should have no rankings until October 1, because I think you should make everybody play for a month and then get an idea of how good they are or whatever. Because guess what? Everybody talk about, well, you sell magazines and blah, 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 we have conversation anyway. And pretty much, we are going to talk about a book called The Price today, but books and magazines are becoming obsolete.
Right.
I mean, pretty much everything is just downloadable and download to a tablet or whatever. So again, just because they don't print a magazine, big whoop. You know what I'm saying? You can probably download it.
But anyway, you're right, though. Yeah. Everything takes a life on its own. You can't basically, we forget what happened last year. Yes, Alabama beat Georgia. Last year, Alabama proved.
But Nick Saban's not the coach, and people haven't seen Kalen DeBoer yet.
Right.
So
I mean, Alabama did it last year. Yes, they beat Georgia. This year, right now, no one has beaten anybody except Georgia Tech and Florida State. But right now, Georgia is the standard, and until somebody beats them, they are the favorites to win the league.
And I appreciate it. I think y'all nailed it. Y'all settled it. You settled it with me. I got to say this. To me, if you agree with this, if Alabama beats Wisconsin, takes care of business with these other, Saturday, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Alabama-Georgia this year is going to be bigger than Alabama-LSU back when Alabama lost 9-6 and then went on to win the title 21-0, and bigger than when LSU came in. Unfortunately, Burrow came to Tuscaloosa and beat them. This is bigger, might be the biggest game in Bryant-Denny, and I don't know how long.
All right, thanks for the phone call. I don't know about that one. That game of the century was, I mean, when you're talking biggest games, dude,
There's
LSU
nothing
game was
that's
loaded
going to,
with talent.
There's not.
You
This
can't-
game is not going to be as anticipated as the game of the
No.
century in 2011. It's
No.
just not. And Alabama lost that game, and they turned around and beat the hell out of LSU, and it was glorious. 21-0 in the rematch. They should have beat them in the first game, shot their foot off, but they fixed things. But it's going to be a big game. It's going to be the biggest game of the Kalen DeBoer era. Okay. But right now, but it's not bigger than what we saw out of Nick Saban. It's just not. I mean, that's a fact. I mean, I'll be honest with you. All these Alabama Georgia games, including the national championship in 21, didn't have the buildup of that 2011 Alabama LSU game, and Alabama lost that game. But it was the game of the century because of how good those two teams were. And then, unfortunately, for most of the national media morons who watched it, they thought it was bad football. The damn game went into overtime, Scott, and they called it bad football because they are morons. Idiots. They didn't know what they were watching.
They were watching the ultimate highest level college football game that you could possibly have put out there. There were so many NFL draft picks on the field that night. It was unbelievable.
How can you watch an overtime game with no touchdowns? It's called defense, you soft-ass morons.
Yeah. We're talking at the highest level defense.
Good grief. That was the stunning part. It's just like, and look, I didn't have as much anticipation. I was in Bryant-Denny Stadium. I wasn't in Bryant-Denny Stadium for the 11 game, okay? Yes. But I was there for the Joe Burrow game, which Alabama also lost. And that was anticipated, but I still don't think there was as much anticipation as there was for the game of the century. I mean, there was the buildup even from the start of the season, and then with how both teams were playing, and then to go out and trust me, that was a great game. Both games were great, and Alabama made a comeback against LSU. But Alabama had to come back and put themselves in position for an onside kick, and it was exciting and everything. But it wasn't pins and needles like the 2011 game.
No.
Whether you were in the stadium watching it or watching it on television.
That 11 game, if you got a first down,
I'm sure you were there.
I was on the sideline.
Yeah.
If you got a first down,
right,
that was huge.
Yeah.
Because you got 4 more downs.
Yeah.
It was a knockout, drag-out, slug.
Watching it from the sidelines was there was a lot of kinetic energy in my opinion.
No, the whole thing was. The whole thing was. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You completed a pass or you got a first down, and it was like you were on the edge of your seat. Lots of times when you have a 9-6 game, I mean, I go back to the Mississippi State Auburn 3-2 game where it was a just a snooze fest. I mean, it was just awful.
Now that is a snooze fest.
It was a bad game.
Yeah,
that was a
bad
game.
Yeah.
This 9-6 game, it was not a bad football game. There were so many great plays made on both sides of the ball that it was like, oh my gosh, you were on the edge of your seat with everything because I mean, you felt like somebody was going to break through on any play, but the defenses were so good that the offenses couldn't do anything.
Right.
And Alabama just made so many adjustments from game 1 to game 2 against LSU, where LSU, we know, they made none.
Zero.
I mean, they came out with the exact same game plan they had in game 1. Alabama was like, okay, let's change things up a little bit. Let's get a break in.
Let's go after the honey badger. And that's exactly what they did.
Expose them a little bit. Let's get a break in, shall we? Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Looking at a little bit of slowdown eastbound on 565 through the County Line Road and Huntsville International Airport exit. That's normal for this time of the morning, though. Everything else seems to be in pretty good shape. You be careful on your ride in. Put extra room in there so you got someplace to move to if something does go wrong. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The Huntsville Men's Clinic opened in 2020 for guys who get it done. Let's talk, fellas. You solve problems all day at work. You fix your sink when it's broken. But when it comes to ED and low T, it doesn't get done. We get it. You hate going to the doctor, but you're the guy that fixes things. At the Huntsville Men's Clinic, there's nothing to fear and no reason to delay. We've been destroying bedroom boredom for years. Our friendly, discreet team of urologists and doctors will take the time to listen. So if you haven't fixed this, call us. When the pills fail, call us. If you feel like you've tried everything, call us. Here, there's hope. From the conventional to the next level. We even offer treatments for size increase with instant results. Imagine finally taking care of this with no surgery. It's time to be confident. Join the thousands of guys who have found success after walking through our doors. Will you be one of them? Dial 256-368-0333 or go to HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com to schedule a $99 male performance consultation, including blood work. Do it for you. Do it for her. HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. Book your appointment now.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Embark on a flavorful journey at the Brewers Cooperative. Located within the vibrant community hub of Stovehouse in Huntsville, our brewery isn't just about crafting exceptional beers. It's a destination where culinary delights and local brews harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, our diverse menu has something to please every palate. With a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, we invite you to savor the unique flavors of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative. Call 256-678-7036. The Brewers Cooperative.
It's the dawning of a new age in Tuscaloosa.
I understand what Alabama football is all about. Roll Tide.
Join the Crimson Tide as the Kalen DeBoer era begins. Touchdown! Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide kick off the 2024 season at home against the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Our coverage begins at 3 on your home for Alabama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo.
I want that money!
You know, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
There we go, 7:19 on a Wednesday morning. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN Zone. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Armin Katayan's going to join the show as we look into the Price Win at All Costs book that has come out about college football. Some excerpts, interesting news and notes from that book.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that here at the bottom
Really
of the
good
hour.
excerpt about Talia Tungavailoa.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew a lot of that. I'd kind of heard it, and I also knew that his father, Nolly, was a nut. And that basically that's part of the reason why he didn't finish at Alabama is because they had some talented quarterbacks, but I think Coach Saban was also tired of dealing with his dad, who's the ultimate helicopter guy. I mean, his sons were both really great players,
right?
But, I mean, it's a lot to deal with, and and sounds like Nolly really was wanting him to try to kind of explore going to the highest bidder, but Maryland and Loxley were really good for him. And I do feel bad in a way that, he didn't get a chance to play as, another year because his freshman year at Alabama, he played like in 5 games. They probably should have tried to preserve that red shirt. So then he could have played one more year, but it sounds like it wouldn't have been at Maryland. It probably would have been at Miami for Cristobal because he was thinking about transferring. He would have had, because he would have had another year
play in the bowl game.
Well, and here's the thing, and Michael Loxley admitted it. Maryland has the NIL, but they can't compete with the supposed $1.5 million offer. And John Talty and Marvin Katang were reporting it was from Auburn, but they upped his offer and it was a very nice 6-figure offer. But as Loxley said, we can't match $1.5 million. And if he had gone to Miami, we already know what they've been slinging around. So
Right.
they probably wouldn't have been able to match that either. But again, Talia had a really solid career. I know he's trying to make a go of it in the pros. We'll see what happens there. But I just thought it was a very interesting kind of dynamic in how things work.
And there's some comments there from Lane, supposedly from Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin kind of refuted some of those over the weekend, did his press conference. So Armin
Of course
Katayan
he
will
did.
join us at the bottom of the hour.
Let's see. Who do we believe? Armin Katayan or Lane Kiffin?
Lane Kiffin?
No.
Let's go out to the phone lines. Jeff from the Burrows with us. Good morning, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff.
That's one guy. Well, I believe Lane Kiffin, so I'll take him.
Well, that's not surprising.
He said he's the greatest, best range in the world is college football. Best range in the world. Hey, all you can do is say too much salt and taters, and I'm gonna transfer. There's no reason for a transfer for the hell of it. Like I said, I'll think.
And yet he's built his entire team off transfers. Okay, so he kind of speaks out of both sides of his mouth on the whole deal.
Well, fine,
I mean,
but don't get rid of the spring transfer window. Good, baby.
I hope so. I think they should, Jeff. Honestly, I think there should only be one window. What do you think?
Well, I think there ought to be zero. Maybe about zero windows.
Well, Jeff, they're going to allow them to transfer, so there has to be a window somewhere. But
they have proposed it now to modify it, and what they want to make it is the window for football student athletes to enter the portal would only be one window. They only want one window during it. They want to
that's
do
after
away
the regular season.
They want to do away. Well, it's actually it's right in the middle, right after the regular season, in the middle of the bowl games. Basically,
of course.
you'd still be in the portal. But that's the window that they want. They want to do away with that second portal window, and
that's fine with me.
It has a lot of momentum, and more than likely, that is what is going to happen.
Now, and see, here's the thing, though. The reason I would rather it be in the spring, but the reason it's not going to be, and here's the key, it's because guys won't be able to go through spring practice at their new place, and that's why. Now, it would affect the bowl games and potentially, your college football playoff situation, your depth, but I don't see starters leaving. I see depth guys, but I mean, again, either way is going to create, a conflict. And look, there's less lawsuits from the players if they, can at least go through spring practices, or less likelihood of that anyway, of blowback if they can go their new place and be there in January.
It would open the Monday after the FBS conference championship games,
before the playoffs.
Yep, and it would close in early January.
Right.
Let's put it this way. Derek Mason, my alma mater, has 59 new players.
Well, that's not surprising.
59 new ones. They're going to start play Saturday night against Tennessee Tech at home for their first football.
My prediction is they don't have a winning record, but that's just me.
Well, that's true. That's fine.
And I'll freely admit I don't know anything about his team. But 59 new players, that's a lot. I mean, we saw what happened with Dion's version of that. It did not go well.
So, I mean, that's fine, but hopefully he does, and he got a lot more momentum than the former guy. At least he's recruiting mid-state guys, and the other guy wouldn't do it, so he can go back.
The other guy had been there a long time. It was probably time for new leadership.
Well, it was stale.
Yeah,
stale.
I don't disagree with that.
Time for him to go, but I did want to say too. What about Hayward going to the Astros? What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, there was even rumors he might come back to the Braves, with all the Braves losses with injuries. I mean, Jay Hay, he's had a long career. He's never become a superstar like, I think a lot of people thought he would.
But he's a real defensive liability now.
Really is?
Oh, gosh. That's why
I haven't watched him play.
That's why Chicago, they were happy when it was done, when it was done and everything. He's up there in age, defensive liabilities. He is not the same player he was.
Not the athlete he was when he first came up.
Right. Not even.
Yeah, well,
close.
he's got his World Series ring on.
That's right. He does.
Yeah.
Hang in there, guys.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, he does. He's got it with the Chicago Cubs, and he was a big part of that. He gave the huge speech in the locker room during the rain delay with the Cubs and the Cleveland Indians when they went into that rain delay, the infamous rain delay that Chicago kind of got a little momentum coming out and ended up winning the World Series. And
so, I remember going to watch him. Man, years just fly by when he was with the Mississippi Braves and Freddie Freeman was the first baseman, and he hit a ball and they green lighted him on 3-0, and I watched him hit one over the scoreboard at the old Joe Davis. And then that was Craig Kimball's first game in Double-A because he had just been called up and he got the save that night. But yeah, it's crazy how the years fly by and that Hayward is already, nearing the end of his career. And again, for many years, the Braves thought he was going to be the dude, and just it became obvious he wasn't the hitter everybody thought he was going to be. He was a good player, but I just never thought a great one.
All right, 7:26. Let's get a break in. When we come back, Armand Katayan will join the show as we talk about The Price, Win at All Cost in College Football, the new book.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 90s, lower triple digits. We're going to drop into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. A mostly to partly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Temperatures once again climbing into the upper 90s. Some of us looking at the lower triple digits. The good news over the next couple of days is that it's not going to be terribly humid across the Tennessee Valley. Dropping into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight, early Friday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Looking at a little bit of slowdown eastbound on 565 through the County Line Road and Huntsville International Airport exit. That's normal for this time of the morning, though. Everything else seems to be in pretty good shape. You be careful on your ride in. Put extra room in there so you got someplace to move to if something does go wrong. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. If you're planning a holiday or a birthday party, Full Moon has a large banquet room. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Just call us and we'll take care of everything. 256-713-0070. Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco. The best little pork house in Alabama.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome in on a Wednesday morning. I should say welcome back on a Wednesday morning, 7:30. The book is entitled The Price, What It Takes to Win in College Football's Era of Chaos. Armand Katayan and John Talkin doing a lot of work. A lot of work to make this book come to fruition. And wow, what a book it is.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it's probably the most tumultuous time we've seen in big-time collegiate athletics. Both these gentlemen are very good at what their craft and what they do with the written word. Armand Katayan is also, if you're HBO Real Sports, if you've been a part of that, if you've been a part of the television world, you've seen him breaking many a big story and tackling many a big topic. And Armand is certainly doing that with John Talkin, our good friend. And Armand has been kind enough to join us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline here in Huntsville, Alabama on 97.7 The Zone to talk about The Price, this new book. Yeah. And he's with us now. And he will be letting us taking a look behind the curtain, Scott.
Yeah, he will. And Armand, welcome in this morning here in Huntsville.
Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, you said it right. It's a lot of work. But, it was great working with John, who I knew of, but had never really never worked with and really had never met. And then when we connected, we hit it off right away. I'm a real admirer now of his tenacity and his integrity and his kind of relentless reporting, and certainly the trust that he had built up, as you guys well know, covering the SEC for the better part of a decade now. And a lot of these chapters in the book, the Nick Saban chapters, the Kirby chapters, the Jimbo chapters, the Jimmy Sexton chapter, that's a lot of John in there. And he did a great job in the storytelling.
No question.
A lot of people here, obviously in the state of Alabama, they are very curious on the Nick Saban chapters.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've known Nick from his days as the head coach of the Dolphins, and I profiled him for 60 Minutes. He was a major part of the book that Jeff Benedict and I did back in 2013, which was what we thought then was a deep dive into the kind of the crazy state of college football called The System. And it literally, the price is kind of the System 2.0. But when I look back and saw what Jeff and I did, and it was groundbreaking in a lot of ways, I mean, that's like child's play compared to what we're witnessing right now. So, Nick, to me, he's a symbol of, and his decision to retire is a symbol of the chaos and the complete lack of control that coaches and coaching staffs have now over their teams because of what's happening with NIL and certainly what's happening with the portal. I think if anything drove Nick out of the game, and he can say whatever he wants publicly, but I know privately and talking to people very close to him that, he was pretty much at his wit's end when he came back after losing to Michigan in the playoffs to find no small line of players outside his office. And so much of that Alabama program is about development and waiting your turn. And now players don't want to wait their turn because there's other programs that are willing to pay some serious money, to 18 and 19-year-old kids to go into the portal to transfer to their universities and have the opportunity to start right away. So, if you want to look at the really big picture and point a finger in one direction to show how crazy this brave new world is, here's Jim Harbaugh, who won the national championship on one coast, sitting in his motorhome looking at the Pacific Ocean after deciding to sign with the Los Angeles Chargers. And then you have Nick on the other coast on the Atlantic Ocean looking out from his beachfront estate, deciding he's not going to come back to the game. And the fact that those two singular figures are not in college football right now pretty much tells you everything you want to know about, where we are in terms of the crazy side of things.
And speaking of some of the crazy things, like we heard rumors like this. I know you and John reported this at other universities, but we heard it even from the Alabama perspective going into the Rose Bowl about players wanting money to play in said playoff game, extra money, in other words, because there's no written rules right now, Armin.
That's so true. I mean, John has a chapter, and it's another kind of great chapter called Macy's. It's Macy's 1 and Macy's 2, and it really folks down in Alabama certainly know Mike Loxley, who's now the head coach at Maryland. And it's called Macy's for a reason, because a very big reason, and he's the one who came up with the term, because if you look at above Macy's, you're looking at Saks Fifth Avenue, and that's the Alabama programs and the Michigan programs, the Ohio State programs, the Oregon programs, you name them. And then you look below Macy's and you have kind of whatever the discount Targets of the world, and you have maybe a UNC Charlotte, a school like that, or even you could say San Diego State, and they're grabbing players from you from both sides. The top programs want them, and the ones that are underneath you are taking away your potential starters because they can start at a Charlotte. So you're getting squeezed from both sides, and that to me is really some of these programs that are caught in the middle right now, that don't have the firepower to put together a 10 or 15, or in the case of Ohio State, a $20 million a year NIL budget. You wonder why coaches are leaving the game. And that's a really big reason why. They just can't sustain it. It's hard enough. And yes, they're well paid, but this job right now is 3 or 4 times harder than it's ever been.
the Jimmy Sexton stories in this book.
Yeah.
And how, I mean, when you started compiling these stories of the Jimmy Sexton, I mean, the most powerful agent in college football. I mean, did you just kind of sit back and just kind of go, my, oh my?
Oh, he's such a great character. And Jimmy, and I'll say this, when Jimmy wants something, he'll answer the phone or he'll text me, and he's done the same thing with John. And I know we're not the only ones.
Yeah.
But when you need something from Jimmy, it's crickets. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Mark Emmert has one of the great quotes in the book. He goes, nobody negotiates with themselves better than Jimmy Sexton. And it's so true. I mean, when you have, I don't know what last count was, I think it's 12
Yeah.
the SEC head coaches. And it's such a great scene when Nick retires. And the next day, who's the guy that walks in at like 8:00 in the morning? Well, it's Jimmy Sexton.
Kalen
And he's
DeBoer.
already got there's
He
Kalen
just hired
DeBoer.
him.
And
Yep.
boom, boom, boom. And he gets Sarkisian money. And he gets, the Florida State coach money. And it's just, it's comical at a certain point in time because you know it's going to happen. And as an administration, you have to be, as an athletic director or a university president, just going, oh my God, here we go again. Here he comes. He's got the bags full of money on. But I was the one that, sort of the moment when Lane called him on the phone, and this was back, I think, in November 2015, and I was considering profiling Jimmy for 60 Minutes Sports, and I had spent time with him in Mississippi at the Grove when Hugh Freeze was the head coach there, and it was just a wildly entertaining afternoon. And then, he picks up the phone and it's Lane, complaining about this and that and wanting to get a head coaching job. And Jimmy just puts him straight. Look, you got to win. People aren't hiring losing coaches. So just, put the phone away, go win a football game, and we'll talk later. And, the relationship that those two alpha dogs, what Lane and Nick had at Alabama, is just so rich in terms of storytelling. And again, that's John's work. I was involved with Michigan, and there's 3 chapters on Harbaugh and the NCAA saga. And one of my favorite threads of the book is Jed Fish, who was at Arizona, raising the Arizona program. And I got to tell you, this T-Mac, their wide receiver that they have is if he's not the top wide receiver in the country, I'd like to see who's better than he is. And now Jed, talk about dominoes, Nick retires, Kalen DeBoer comes in, Jed's at Arizona, and literally within about 72 hours of Nick's, I know it was Wednesday to Saturday, Nick resigns on a Wednesday, or decides to retire on a Wednesday. I think Kalen DeBoer's there Friday. Jed's the head coach at Washington on Saturday. And that's how crazy things were. And they still are crazy.
Yeah.
It's not any better, but it's, from a storytelling perspective, it's a wonderful landscape to work in.
It really is. And Armin, I've got to ask you, with Michigan, there's so much talk still with the NCAA, and a lot of people thought they lost their teeth, but it does seem that they have been doggedly after the Wolverines and still are. You still think that that's one of the things that drove Harbaugh to the NFL, in your opinion?
No question. I think Jim was caught, and I know this because I spent a lot of time with Tom Mars, a really great attorney, and probably the worst possible thing that could happen to the NCAA, a very smart attorney who from Arkansas and just really understands how the system works. But Jim found himself caught between, a program and a university. He's a Michigan man. He loves that university and he loved that program. And I know that he turned down Walmart money not to become the head coach with the Denver Broncos, to return to Michigan, to this team that eventually won a national title. But on the other hand, he was getting hammered from a process that he absolutely hated. And I don't think there's any question. And I don't say this about the enforcement staff, because I think the enforcement staff, originally, the 4-game suspension that was negotiated and everybody agreed on in a settlement for the COVID-19 violations was fair. And Jim was going to accept it. But then the Committee on Infractions, and particularly the chairman, Dave Roberts, I don't think there's any question, had a vendetta against Jim and wanted to make an example of him to other coaches, because Jim likes to push boundaries and had been talking very publicly about paying players. But I think that system now is so tainted and so opaque that I don't even know if it's relevant anymore. I think it's almost like you've got a policeman out there trying to ticket people that are going, in a 35-mile-an-hour zone, that everybody's going 85 miles an hour. So I feel without question that Jim's relationship with Ward Manuel, strained as it is, was part of it. But I believe, all things being equal, if there had been a fairer process in place, that Jim would still be coaching in Ann Arbor. And as Tom Mars told him, and he said, I didn't tell him once, I didn't tell him twice, I told him more than twice, if there's an opportunity for you to go to the NFL, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't take it, because of what you're facing with the Committee on Infractions.
Wow. And then also within the own conference as well. I mean, the Big Ten conference itself, there was a lot of, uneven, or I should say, back and forth there between the conference.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I worked for Tony Petiti at CBS Sports, and when Tony was his number 2 to Sean McManus, and I have great respect for Tony. He's a very smart guy, but he was getting squeezed too by all these other head coaches that were screaming bloody murder. Well, I'd like to take a microscope and run it through their programs too. So, Jim, because he's so idiosyncratic and so quirky and so pushes the limits and the boundaries of things, not illegally, but right up to it, I think he lives a little bit in that gray area, as a lot of coaches do. But I found it to be, from a reporting point of view, there were so many leaks and there was so little due process. And I will tell you this, there's a great scene in the book where Tim Lynch, who's the general counsel of the University of Michigan, is talking to Tom Mars and says, look, we've decided we're going to drop the lawsuit against the Big Ten. And they have this very heated conversation with words that would probably not play well in your station. But it tells you, in the end, they wanted Jim to drop his name off the lawsuit. And Mars said, well, okay, I gotta go talk to Jim. Jim reluctantly agrees. And then the University of Michigan puts out a press release, and I have it, and I read it more than once, that makes it seem like it was Jim's decision to drop the lawsuit when it was anything but Jim's decision. So if you want to know, probably the first domino to fall why Jim decided he did not want to come back, I don't think he felt like he had the support of the Board of Regents, and I don't think he felt like he had the support of some of the people at the university who were putting their own best interests in front of maybe the greater good for Jim. So yeah, there's a lot of politics involved, but I think the Jim Harbaugh saga, all the 3 chapters that we have, and the brotherhood of players that came back to play and try to win a national title, it's pretty heartwarming, I think, in the end.
No doubt. Wow. It's called The Price, What It Takes to Win in College Football's Era of Chaos. And it's Armand Katayan who's with us right now, and John Talty. Let everybody know how to get the book, Armand. It's a great work.
Well, thank you. It's on Amazon. It's doing really well. And thanks for the mention of the reviews. Everybody that's read it, and I've been in this game long enough to know that there's always somebody that'll find something, negative to say, but honest to goodness, knock on wood, the people that have read it, they really like it. And I think we struck a chord here, and a lot of credit goes to John and a lot of hard work from both of us. But, the usual places, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, hopefully some of the independent bookstores I know have bought it. So, but it's out there, and we're very, very grateful to people that have supported us, believe me.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate the time. You got a busy schedule.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Wow.
Great stuff.
Those were, what did
I tell you though about Harbaugh pissing off the wrong people? I just felt like that's what it was the whole time. He is a quirky guy.
There was vendettas out there to prove that Jim Harbaugh, they were trying to literally bring him down.
Yeah, they just didn't like him. It reminded me of Alabama in the late 90s and early 2000s when the NCAA, thanks to Fatimus Maximus and other people, was after Alabama. Tennessee's paying everybody over here, cheating their ass off. yet they're pointing the finger at Alabama, who was not, doing their, certainly was not handling themselves the way they needed to,
right,
and cutting some corners. But if you think Tennessee's Lily White, then I think a lot of people figure I've got Tennessee gear in my house, which I'd have to burn it down.
The house or the gear?
Both.
Let's get
Just
a break.
take the insurance money.
Let's get a break in. Again, the book, The Price, What It Takes to Win in College Football's Era of Chaos. Good stuff there from Armin Katayan. Let's get a break in, wrap up hour one next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had a report of a wreck or a possible wreck on Pulaski Pike north of Bob Wade. I think HPD's checking on that one. Everything else seems to be in order this morning. Haven't heard of any other problems. You be careful on your ride in. Are you over 35 and overweight? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
This summer, make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Make it 0% financing, make it no down payment, and make no payments for 90 days. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. It's our Ford summer sales event, and I promise you can save serious dollars on a large selection of our 2024 Fords. We've got financing as low as 0% for 36 months on 2024 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, Edge, Escape, plus all-electric F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E. And on all these Fords I just mentioned, you'll make no down payment and no payments for 90 days. Can you say Orange Beach, here we come? This is going to be a good summer. Come choose from over 550 new Fords, and you'll learn firsthand that nobody will work harder to earn your business. Brand new award-winning Fords with 0% financing, no down payment, and no payment for 90 days with your good credit. This offer ends 9/3/24. Come see us today and make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? It might be in a call center somewhere, maybe 100 miles away, but my phone rings in my office.
The Lackey Law Firm.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're here. We're the ones who take your call.
And get what you deserve.
You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And this is the most important part. We'll treat you like family because that's exactly what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
What's happening? Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, 256-576-4977. Let's get to the phones real fast. Let's go out to Richard. Good morning, Richard.
What's up, Richard?
Morning, guys. I tell you what, with that last.
Hello. We got you.
I've been seeing excerpts from it, but I wasn't sure really where they were coming from. So,
right.
That sounds interesting there. A lot of good, I guess, gossip or truth out. So it kind of wild. So I'm gonna go. Like I said, I'm gonna go buy it here later today.
Yeah, it's
sounds interesting. So
absolutely.
Out. So. Have you guys, either one of you guys, read it yet, or
read some of it?
We've read excerpts of it.
Not all the way through.
We both plan on reading the entire book. Yes.
Need a good rainy day just to sit down and read it right
One
now.
of these college football weekends coming up, we're going to knock it out.
I was going to say it's going to be tough, though. You got football starting up tomorrow, and then, I guess a little bit of rain chance on Saturday, but that's about it. So, no rainy days upcoming. So,
yeah, we'll get it in, though.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, sounds interesting. In the kind of the way they, I guess went over about, all of football, not just say Alabama or SEC, but everybody.
Yep, they covered the full gamut of college football because it's affected it in every form. That's kind of what Armand was talking about. All the way down from the small, as he put it, Macy's, then Target, and then all the way up to Saks Fifth Avenue.
And the one thing we didn't get to talk to him about was the demise of the Pac-12. I mean, they put the demise of the Pac-12 in there as well, and that's something we didn't even get to bring up.
Yep, like I said, I'm interested in reading it. It sounds pretty wild. So we'll see you guys later.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it.
All right, let's visit with Bryce this morning. Good morning, Bryce.
Morning, Bryce.
Good morning, Drew. Listen, I'm going to go out on a limb, unless this quarterback that we're facing, TJ
Finley.
Yep.
If he hasn't got any better, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're going to get 3 to 5 sacks on him Saturday night.
He's not the most mobile guy. He's kind of like DJU in the fact that he's like a momentum guy. He's big. He can move. But if he especially in a straight line, but being the quickest guy and being able to, extend plays and get outside the pocket, not so much. But I mean, I do think he's a guy that Alabama can pressure and can probably force into some mistakes.
Yeah, and I think he'll get sacked 3 to 4 times and probably throw 1 to 2 interceptions or fumble the ball. He'll turn it over. I think his defense is going to be a whole lot better than people are giving it credit for. They're going to pin their ears back and go after it. I think they're going to be surprised at his defense, how crisp it is, and how they go after people.
Yeah.
The defensive line, I heard that they were looking real good. And another thing, guys, it's not y'all that's doing it. Why is the media talking so much about a 4-8 coach?
Deion Sanders?
Yeah.
Well, because he's
polarizing.
He's polarizing. He's very high profile. He was a great athlete that he was one of the best self-marketers that ever walked the planet as far as being an athlete, and he was a multi-sport professional athlete. He wasn't the raw athletic specimen that Bo Jackson was, but he was right below him. He was a Hall of Fame football player. He's arguably the greatest cover corner to ever play the game. And then he decides to go into coaching, and he's always known how to market himself. He was marketing himself back as prime time. He created that persona back at Florida State.
Yep.
There's no telling how much NIL money he would have made. Let's just put it that way. He would have been oof.
That's correct. But he's not a football coach, not a head coach anyway. He's probably going to do about 4-8 or 5-6 at best. He's not a coach, and he's a attention whore. What he is.
No, there is no doubt. He likes the spotlight. He likes being in the spotlight, and he likes creating things and topics and conversation to keep him in the spotlight. And this year is an important year for him, because if he does not get to a bowl game, if he does not get Colorado to a bowl game, I think then a lot of the media that is continuing to cover Colorado will get tired of the conversation, the narrative, and everything around it. And it's going to be like, it's going to flip. If he is having problems with one reporter questioning him and questioning the program, if he does not get Colorado back to a bowl game, there's going to be more than one person sitting there questioning.
Man, I even think if they go 8-4 and get to a bowl game, my biggest question is he going to bolt for the NFL? Because I'm just not sure he's there for the long term, because I just don't. I've called it daddy ball. I think that's kind of what he's doing, and he can prove me wrong by staying for a third year, and then when his sons are gone, continuing to elevate that program. But I don't see a long-term plan. We'll see. He certainly created that prep school, I think, in Texas to help kids, but also he gave his sons a platform then. So we'll see. I mean, I'm skeptical of it. And again, I was a big fan of Deion as an athlete, and he did a good job at Jackson State, helping the SWAC gain like a lot of eyes on them and up their profile. But then he left for Colorado, and so I just want to see, is he in this for the long term, or is he trying to get to the NFL?
Well, he's always been about Deion. Deion comes first. Is the point I was making. And another thing, guys, and Joe, I know you care more as much about what Jimbo's doing as I do. He's an idiot if he gets back into coaching.
Well, he can't help himself though. I just think he wants to. He wants to continue to be on that stage, and he doesn't need the money. You're right about that, but I think he doesn't want to go out the way he went out, which was his own fault. But I mean, he wants another chance to rewrite the ending of the narrative, and he'll probably just leave another program in rubble.
And he's at the age though too.
There you go.
Where his ego is still going to want to be on that sidelines.
Right.
Well, they mentioned Arkansas. Arkansas's already got their plan in place. I mean, Arkansas is smarter than hire that idiot.
No.
I mean, it might be some people out there hire him, but it ain't gonna be Arkansas. Nobody in the SEC, I think, will touch him.
Well, we'll see about that. I mean, Arkansas. I mean, they're cleaning up a mess that that they created by a really, really, really bad hire in Chad Morris.
I agree. I agree. And I thought that. See, I lived in Dallas, and Chad Morris, he's been around the block.
Yeah.
And I think he got asked to leave Allen High School.
He probably did. He only stayed a year, as far as I know.
Thanks
you,
for
Bryce.
the phone call, Bryce. We are up against the hour break. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little cross country. We need to. There's a huge, and I mean, when I say huge, anytime you get over 2,000 runners in one spot, that's huge.
How much lozenge do you need, man? Like, you're going to be announcing that all weekend?
Well, they've got like 5 or 6 races. It's not just one race. It's like 5 or 6 races that'll go on. It's the Southern Showcase, the high school version. We'll preview it next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Alabama football kicks off the season this Saturday. The Crimson Tide take on Western Kentucky. Crimson Tide went 12-2 last season, 8-0 in the SEC. They're ranked number 5 in the AP Top 25. Kalen DeBoer takes over head coaching duties from Nick Saban. Alabama favored by 31.5, minus 7,500 on the money line. Western Kentucky plus 2,500. The over-under is 59.5. Big clash on tap for number 1 Georgia when they take on number 14 Clemson. The Tigers are 13.5-point underdogs, plus 425. Georgia minus 550, over under 48.5. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Hi, good morning. Welcome back into Hour 2 of Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Of course, SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center helping us with our number 2. And you can find them, sportsmedalabama.com, or you can give them a call, 256-881-5151. You too can experience the SportsMed difference. They are dedicated to providing care that improves lives. Don't forget, they do have their orthopedic urgent care available. Expert diagnosis, treatment, rehab, prevention, all kinds of stuff. SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, physical therapy, orthopedic urgent care, imaging center, all of that. SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. Now, it is a big, big weekend because this weekend will kick off college football. We all know that. But circle your calendars for September 13th and September 14th because over at John Hunt Park, if you like running, that is where you're just going to want to camp out. Because on Friday, there are going to be over 1,100 college athletes there for the Southern Showcase cross-country meet. That'll be on Friday morning. Then on Saturday morning, the running trails will belong to the high school teams and kids, as over 2,000 runners will converge on John Hunt Park. So you're looking at over 3,000 runners in 24 hours at John Hunt Park. Some of the best, and I mean the best, cross-country runners will be taken to one of the best, if not the best, cross-country, competitive cross-country trails, track, whatever you want to call it, in the South.
Well, and speaking of one of the best in the state of Alabama and in the South, the Huntsville High Crimson Panthers cross-country program, both the men's and the ladies programs are one of the best in the state. And their head coach is now joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline to tell us about this event and promote it. They have sponsorships available. We're going to talk to Blake Borden, who's taking some time out of his busy schedule because, again, this season is just about upon us. This is a huge event coming up for our city. In Huntsville is the fastest growing city in the state and really has become kind of an epicenter for high school athletics when you talk about soccer, cross country, wrestling, a lot of events coming to our city. And Blake Borden's going to talk about this cross country meet now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, you're with Drew and Scott. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
We're doing good, man. And I know this is a huge event for not just your program, but for cross country in our state.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's basically become a Southeast regional preview. The Nike series happens up in Cary, North Carolina, but I kind of like to build this as a preview to how that's gonna go down at the end of November. We have teams from all over the Southeast. We even have a couple outside of the region. One coming as far away as New Mexico this year. We have 145 teams right now signed up. I just think it's become a really, really, really cool event since we've partnered up with Coach Providence, and the college races are happening Friday morning. The elite high school races are Saturday morning. It's a special event for sure.
Yeah, kind of lay the schedule out a little bit. I mean, it's not just one race. That this is an event that has multiple races throughout the day.
Yeah, so actually our races start on Friday. We let the college races, conclude. Everybody kind of clears out, and then we begin our setup process around noon on Friday. And we run junior high races, which are 2 miles, so a little bit shorter than the varsity on Friday afternoon. And we have a couple of open 5Ks that evening. And then Saturday morning starts the, pretty much varsity showcase level races where we have 3 very competitive girl races, and we have 4 boy races. So that starts at 8 a.m. You're going to have that broken down more or less by the competition of the teams that are entered. So you'll have a championship division that's going to be the top 50 some odd schools coming with their top 7 varsity runners, and it works its way down to, the less competitive, but it's a very fair breakdown to try to give everybody a chance to succeed at a high level.
And you just mentioned it, piggybacking with the college meet as well on their back-to-back days. Does that also, is there an effect of that? Does it help your student athletes and all these others from these high school programs gain maybe recruiting and college exposure with the college programs in town as well, being able to see this meet and see these student athletes perform, Coach?
Oh, for sure. Especially the in-state schools.
Right.
You know, it's a great event for them to come compete in. You know, there's Auburn and Alabama are coming, among others. But I actually just spoke with one of the SEC coaches yesterday about, you know, some of my kids are going to be kind of debuting their 5K race at Southern Showcase. They're competing on Friday themselves. So, I mean, it's definitely become a joint effort where, you know, we're putting on an event, but it's also a showcase in many different ways, both for our city, for the athletes. I think it hypes up everybody that comes on the high school side, knowing that there's a really good chance that those college coaches are going to hang around and, you know, potentially start that recruiting process. You know, it kind of cuts down on the nerves of having to plan out these really tough logistics for a visit, driving several hours. You know, everybody's kind of converging on this one event. So it definitely is doing that for sure.
And it helps that they get to run on, and Coach, I know you get a lot of feedback, but it helps to run on one of the best and fastest courses that's in the South.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're blessed. I always tell everybody that anytime anybody asks that we have this in our backyard. I mean, not only the grass course loops that you can do, you can run the 5K, 8K, 10K. There's just so many variations that it doesn't get boring. You also got the rubber walking path that the city put in. That's a great option if you want to mix it up and just have maybe a little bit better footing to do some intervals out there. But there's no better place to train or race, in my opinion. I've been all over the Southeast at this point. I mean, we're top of the line, and there's a reason why so many teams come from all over the country. You got the running lane event at the end of the year. I mean, we've had D1 Regional South now multiple times. Like, it's just second to none, in my opinion. And the more people get exposed to it, I think the bigger these meets will become. The college meets is bigger than it's ever been this year. So I think it's just going to continue to grow.
And then as far as how does it help the teams that compete in it set you up for, you know, success down the road during the season and trying to bring home a blue map when you compete in an event of this level?
I think it's a great measuring stick. I mean, for any team that's trying to win a state championship, it's an even better measuring stick for a team that's trying to go to nationals. In that Nike series I referenced a little while ago, I mean, you have to go to your regional meet and finish top 2. I mean, in the Southeast region has 12 states. So, you know, our meet is a great chance to see how you stack up. There's a team from Florida. I mean, I need to count this up, honestly. The last I checked, there were 5 or 6 number 1 teams from different states that are going to come to our meet. It's probably more than that at this point. It's probably one of, if not the most competitive meets in the Southeast, maybe the country in general, just because you do have such a regional feel. But I mean, if you can do well at our meet, in the championship race, we put 5 teams on the podium. A lot of meets are usually 2 or 3, and all 5 of those in years past have gone on to either come home with a blue or a red trophy, you know, whatever their variation of that is in other states. But typically you're a state champion or a runner-up if you're on the podium at Southern Showcase for sure.
Yeah, Coach, outside of you guys, can you kind of just share some of the teams that will be in attendance right now so far?
Yeah, there's Bellin Jesuit from Florida. They won it last year. That's a boys prep school there. They actually won the NXR race, so they're the regional defending champs, and they went on to nationals and finished 4th. That's one of the higher finishes at Nike Cross Nationals of any team in the Southeast since they began that series. So they're coming back. They're really strong. Actually, on the boys' side, they're number 1, and my guys are number 2 behind them. That's a big goal for them, is to really get closer and compete with them this year. I think we finished 4th last year, Southern Showcase on the boys' side, and it wasn't super close between us and those guys, so we're definitely looking to close that gap. There's a school from South Carolina, Greer, that's coming. Their virtual meet number 1 in South Carolina. Harrison from Georgia is, I think, the number 1 team in Georgia. You've got Brentwood, from Tennessee. That's typically a super high level team from there, along with McCallie School. I mean, in the Southeast, the border schools, the border states, we're probably representing the top 3 to 5 in all of those states that are coming. We're not missing very many. I mean, in-state teams, you're looking at Auburn. Auburn's girls are incredible this year. They're probably one of the deepest teams returning that I've ever seen on the girls' side in Alabama. My girls are strong. You're talking about Bayside Academy coming all the way up from Mobile area. They're a really strong team. Lawrence County is a defending champion on the girls' side. So the in-state schools are really, really well represented, along with our Huntsville metro areas, Randolph and Scottsboro, all the teams that are strong up in North Alabama, JP2. We love to have those guys come and compete. And it's just an incredible field. I mean, it's such a great combination. The boys and girls sides are both just very, very strong this year. I think it's the best field we've ever put together.
And before we let you let everybody know how to support this, talk about your squads though a little bit. I mean, certainly this is your boys and girls program is they're both very strong. They both compete for championships and blue maps. How strong are your teams going to be this year potentially, Coach?
I'll talk about the girls first. I think they have a really great shot to the podium this year. I mean, coming back into the year just based on their results from a year ago, they're the number 2 team in 7A, only behind Auburn. I really feel like we're better than we were then. We've shown a lot of growth, a lot of improvement. We've got some young girls that are stepping up into the varsity mix and really just providing us with a lot of depth. So their goal, without a doubt, is the podium this year and bring home at least a red trophy, but obviously blue is ideal. And the guys on the other side are 7-time, either state champs or runner-ups, like 7 in a row. Since 2017, we've either been second or first. So we're looking to get back on top. We've been second the last 2 years. It's been close. And they definitely have the capability to do it. A lot of upperclassmen this year on both sides, and that's a unique thing. The fact that we've been able to develop kids since they were in middle school, and they get better year after year is one of my primary goals as the coach. And I love seeing the, continued improvement. So both teams, it would be the first time since 2017 if both teams come home with a trophy. So that's the goal. The girls are 12-time regional champs, so they've won sectionals regions 12 years in a row. The boys have won 7 of the last 8. So obviously that's on the agenda as well. But at the end of the day, we're definitely continuing to have high standards, and it's not necessarily based on just that one thing of bringing home a trophy. It's just being better than we've ever been. Like, we want to continue to grow and improve as a program, as individuals, and we've got just a great group this year, and it's been a lot of fun to coach them so far. The summer's been fantastic. I'm excited to see them race.
We just need the temperature to come down just a little bit.
I agree. I would love to see that. We've been doing a lot of early morning over the last several weeks. So, but it's going to pay off.
Yeah.
The summer is really where you create the standard for yourself as an individual willing to get up. And these are high school kids that are getting up in the summer to train and run distance. It's not easy. And, I try to tell them as often as possible how proud I am and commend them on their discipline and commitment, because it's unlike, most sports. You don't get a lot of glory. You don't get a lot of pats on the back. You don't get the pep rallies and whatnot, but they're working their tails off as hard as they possibly can to reach their goals. So, I'm just happy to be where I'm at. We're going to have a great year. I think the sky's the limit for sure.
Well, the Southern Showcase, September 13th and 14th, John Hunt Park. Let everybody know how to support it, Coach, and what they need to do.
At this point, the best way to do it is going to be to email me directly, and I can set you up with my sponsorship coordinator. So if you just follow along with my email here, it's BLAKEBORDEN, Blake Borden, HHS@gmail.com. Shoot me an email and let me know you're interested in supporting the meet. We've got different layers, different levels that get you different things. And while I'm on, if you don't mind,
Sure.
I want to give a shout out to my sponsors right now that we have on the gold level, which is the highest level. Obviously the Sports Commission with Mark and Jalen and Brooke and all those guys, they do a lot for the meet year in, year out for several events, obviously. Fleet Feet Sports here in Huntsville helps us out a ton. We've got H2L Solutions, Madison River Homes, Physio Works, Marco's Pizza, Aaron Cobb Photography, and, obviously the Parks and Recreation at Huntsville High are second to none in preparing our course and getting it ready for thousands of people. So, really appreciate it. And my booster family, my booster community of volunteers, every time teams come to our meet, I get emails left and right after the fact of, you have the best volunteers that we've ever seen at any meet. So shout out to all the Huntsville High parents and community on that.
Well, we look forward to it. Have a great meet just in a couple of weeks, and then have a great season. But we always enjoy featuring you. And, of course, you have one of the best programs, not just boys, but, of course, the ladies as well. You do such a great job with the consistency and performance and representing Huntsville High. But we appreciate you for coming on and promoting this great event that's so important to our city.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Blake
Yes,
Borden.
sir.
Yep.
Huntsville High Cross Country.
There you go. It's a fun time. It's a busy time, but it's a fun time, and it's a fun event. And it's free, by the way, too. You can just come on out there and watch. Let's get a break in. When we come back, college football conversation continues.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like they canceled Himsey on that wreck at Nick Davis and Pettis Road. Got Stanley and Lee Drive over near 5 Points. That one reports with an injury. And we got one southbound on Research Park right at 565. That one's reporting with an injury. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
This week on our high school streaming network, over the airwaves, the Buckhorn Bucks will be traveling to Athens to take on the Golden Eagles. Zone 2 and Zone 3 will square off at Bill Washington Stadium as Madison Academy plays host to Randolph. Zone 4 is the Sparkman Senators playing host to Hillcrest Tuscaloosa. Zone 5 features the Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats traveling to play Plainview. Plus, our game of the week from Joe Davis Stadium features the Bob Jones Patriots and the Lee Generals.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Embark on a flavorful journey at the Brewers Cooperative. Located within the vibrant community hub of Stovehouse in Huntsville, our brewery isn't just about crafting exceptional beers. It's a destination where culinary delights and local brews harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, our diverse menu has something to please every palate. With a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, we invite you to savor the unique flavors of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative. Call 256-678-7036. The Brewers Cooperative.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Improving performance, improving lives.
Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel and Twitch. Just search 97.7 ESPN. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
No,
Each
well,
week,
okay.
they lace it up.
That's fine. We said it was the next break, but that's okay. You got practice.
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
Oh, we're teasing everybody. We're actually going to do that.
Doing a dry run.
We're going to do that next segment. That's okay. That's all right. That's all right. Next segment, but we're good. We're fine. We know where it's at now.
Yeah,
it's taken a year for us to. Yeah, it took a year. I mean, it's been a year. We've got to do a lot of dry runs.
After basketball season, we've had it shelved.
That's right. So
we had to find it.
Anyway, yesterday, Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer did some interviews and visited with CBS Sports College Football yesterday, and sat down with the guys there. And I am sure on Saturday you will probably hear some of those interviews. But the coach did lay out, as far as game day goes, on who's going to be doing what and what you can expect and his role on the sidelines and everything, especially on Saturday. Here's Kalen DeBoer.
Nick Sheridan has been with me. This is going on year 4. He was my tight ends coach, but knows the quarterback play, was a quarterback himself. And at Indiana, we worked together for a year. And then the last 2 years, he was with us at Washington as well. And Jamarcus Shepard, really a right-hand man, a guy that, gets our passing game going, knows the X's and O's inside and out, even up to the offensive line. And so those two have really taken the offense, and it's the system that I've kind of built over many years, but so many people have been important to that. Ryan Grubb, Nick Sheridan, Jamarcus Shepard, that's a big core of them. So when it comes to the play calling, Nick Sheridan will be doing the play calling, but it's really important to me to just not get in the way during a drive, but, through the week, talking through the scenarios. And then in the middle of a season, in the middle of a drive, there's a time and place when the head coach, right, because it's got your name on it, has to step in. But I think that rhythm is so important. And I've known that having called plays for 20 years, that's key. But in between series, we can do our talking. We can put together the next series and, kind of sort through things.
And through all those years, you have always been a winner, including 3 national championships back at the NAIA level. Now you are at the top of the college football world at Alabama, coming from Washington. What is, though, a consistent thread to your success going all the way back to Sioux Falls that has carried through to now?
Well, it's people. And with those people, you have things that you really count on to get you through both the good and the bad. And it's having a family environment. I think my role is to help facilitate a place where these guys love coming into the building each and every day, pouring into the football, but pouring into each other. So family, and then an accountability, and a toughness. And, these people, whether it's the football team or the staff, just having accountability first to themselves and then each other. Something where, the relationships that I referred to, do matter, and we don't get defensive when, we get called to the table on something we could have done better. We understand that everything we say, everything we do is for the best judgment and betterment of the football team.
There you go. Kalen DeBoer, especially come Saturday. Nick Sheridan, as we might expect, the play caller.
There are only going to be 2 coaches up in the booth. There will be Nick Sheridan. He's the OC and QB coach, and then co-defensive coordinator and safeties coach Colin Hitzler. They will be the 2 that are up in the booth. Everyone else will be on the sidelines. Everyone kind of always wants to know that, what coaches are in the booth, which ones are on the sideline. But that will be the assignments for Alabama football to open the Kalen DeBoer era at 6 o'clock inside Bryant-Denny Stadium against Western Kentucky.
It's kind of interesting. He's like, I gotta stay patient on the sidelines. I can't get him. It's like he's gonna let the offense. He's gonna let them do what they got to do. But then when he's got to intervene, he'll intervene.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like I've explained to some people. Nick Saban was so heavy-handed on the defensive side of the football because that was his DNA and his background, and he had to be heavy-handed last year with that coaching staff that he had on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm talking about how it played out during the season. See, that's another thing. Why I hate preseason rankings, because you have to see how a coaching staff meshes, how they fit together, how the pieces come to, is everyone performing at the level you believe? Yeah. And after the fact, I mean, basically, I think it was the worst defensive staff that Saban's ever had. Now, the defense was still good, but because Nick Saban had to take a heavy hand in it, because I'll be honest with you, I think this is a huge year for Freddie Roach's future at Alabama. The D-line needs to be better, needs to be consistent. But again, I've criticized Freddie Roach, but last year you had Coleman Hutzler. Good God. and then they were trying to because Kevin Steele was basically at the end of the line. And so they decided even by after the season started and really by the Texas game, they started making a transition to Travarius Robinson calling the defenses, and even that was bumpy. Right. So Nick Saban had to take on a big load with that last year coaching, in addition to being frustrated with the overall climate that Armand Katayan talked about. Yep. So that was a lot of what pushed Coach out of the game. He couldn't hire the coaches that he wanted to hire due to his age, and with NIL and the transfer portal and everything else, he just needed more help. And I don't think he had a lot of help with that coaching staff last year, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Jalen Milroe yesterday talking about his relationship with Kalen DeBoer.
Absolutely. It's been great to be with him. Especially, of course, he, just the relationship he has with the quarterback and just trying to learn as much as possible. And as a quarterback, I want to see the field and the lenses of the head coach, in all areas of the game. And so that's been awesome to have that aspect now, from spring ball to summer training and now fall camp, then transition to the season. It's been so much growth and so much improvement as a team, just off of just the relationship aspect and just always being a sponge for all information.
There you go. Just a brief little there on his relationship with Kalen DeBoer. So
yeah, I mean, good stuff.
All right, 256-576-4977. If you got about 5 seconds, if you want to join the show.
Wait, 5 seconds.
I just looked at the time, and it's 8:28. I was like, "Well, crap! You don't got a lot of time if you want to join the program," because Bailey's itching to go.
Yeah,
Bailey's itching to hit the button again.
I mean, Bailey had it loaded, man.
He did have it loaded and ready to go.
He was ready to go, bro.
We gave you a preview. That's the ultimate tease right there to kick off that segment, was the fact that we will have our team of the week. And indeed, we will pay all the bills when we come back. We will have our first Bryant Bank 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank team of the week. We make all of it long here. Right. We don't do anything short. The Woody Anderson Ford High School Football Scoreboard Show, powered by Lake Guntersville Ace Hardware. I mean, we just keep on adding names and words to things. We like to make it challenging. It was a challenging game for our team of the week last week. They went long, and they played long. We'll fill
double overtime.
We'll fill you all in next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 90s, lower triple digits. We're going to drop into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. A mostly to partly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Temperatures once again climbing into the upper 90s. Some of us looking at the lower triple digits. The good news over the next couple of days is that it's not going to be terribly humid across the Tennessee Valley. Dropping into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight, early Friday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Just picked up a wreck at Lynn and Bradford. That one's a no injury, but it does have some blockage. They canceled Himsey on southbound Research Park near 565. Also canceled on Stanley and Lee over near 5 Points. And Nick Davis and Pettis Road turned out to be a no injury. Snelling needs an experienced property manager, needs HOA experience. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof, not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-Sparky.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our Team of the Week.
Get in here! I got one thing to say!
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
It is indeed our first Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation for the 2024 school year. And we say that because it's not just football that we present our Team of the Weeks to. Last year, we presented it to basketball teams, cheerleading teams. We presented it to cross-country teams. We presented it to wrestling squads. I believe we presented it to pretty much everybody. But this year, we kick off the 2024 Bryant Bank Team of the Week. And if you play a double overtime contest and you are able to stop a 2-point conversion to win the ball game, that's a heck of an effort. And that right there makes it an easy, no-brainer situation to become the first Bryant Bank Team of the Week of the 2024 season.
Yeah, it's hard to believe he started his 15th year at the helm of the Black Bears. Had a very, very successful and consistent program with a high standard. It was his 99th win this past Friday night, and it's at a very difficult place to play, J.P. Kane Stadium. It's a rivalry that means a lot to both communities. They have set into a situation where many times over the last several years they have kicked off the year against each other. It's two programs that compete at a very high level. Of course, Hartsville in 6A. Now Austin for the last several years has been a 7A program. But we're honored to be joined on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline by Austin head football coach Jeremy Perkins. And as Scott said, they are ESPN 97.7 The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week, and that is the Austin Black Bears. Coach, good morning and congratulations to your squad, sir.
And good morning to you, and thank you very much. It feels good to be 1-0.
No question. I mean, that's a tough rivalry, Coach. I mean, you guys, Decatur and Austin, that's kind of like Alabama and Auburn, but I guess I could describe maybe Austin and Hartsville as Alabama, Tennessee. It's a big rivalry.
It is. I mean, communities are right next to each other. It's always a good game. They've got a great program. They're always well prepared, play hard. Their kids are competitors, and it's a good challenge for us with a lot of ups and downs, a lot of things to learn for a first game.
Yeah, Coach, can kind of take us through that one. I mean, it was a hard-fought game. I mean, you go to double overtime, and you had a little bit of work to do in the second half.
Well, we both teams made a lot of mistakes. Both teams had some special teams blunders. We had some bad punt snaps. Both teams threw pick sixes that got called back for penalties. And we had to basically score fourth and goal from like the 8 or 9 yard line to tie the game in regulation. So, I mean, it was a hard fought game. Both teams made a lot of mistakes, but made a lot of plays. It was kind of a rivalry type game. pressure packed, crowded, standing room only stands, is what you want for your team.
No question. And Coach, what did you learn about your team? Obviously, you had fall camp to take a look at them and get a look in a feel for them. But there's nothing like a real game, especially against an opponent of the caliber of the Hartsville Tigers. But what did you learn about your squad in this big season opening win this past Friday?
Well, we had a lot of new faces out on the field this year. I mean, we only returned a few guys defensively that played significantly, and only about 4 or 5 guys offensively. So a lot of new faces. So one of the big concerns was how we were going to handle the ups and downs of the game. We played from behind or tied most of the game, and they handled that very well. So, they had the guts to keep on fighting when things looked a little bit bleak. And it did at times. And, they kept, whatever punches were thrown, they kept coming back. And, it's proud to see that, because that's something you can't teach and you can't coach. That comes from within the players. And to have that, we can correct a lot of the mistakes, but, to have heart and to see those guys continue to battle and fight no matter the situation and play the next play, that gives our team hope.
Well, and Coach, you mentioned a lot of new faces this year. I mean, how hard is that then in camp to try to balance it? And we've talked to a lot of coaches, and it's been a conversation on the college level and the high school level. How do you balance the hitting? How do you balance all that in camp so that you are ready to go on Friday? And it may take a couple weeks to get into a groove, so to speak, when you play on Fridays.
Well, the experience factor. It's not that these kids have played football for a long time, but the experience factor of a Friday night at this level, at this high of a level, they don't have. And the biggest struggle, I guess you could say, that you can't mimic in practice is the emotions of the game. All the situations that come up, the momentum turns and swings, and all the things that come up in a ball game that you cannot practice it. They don't start to learn those things until they actually play the game.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of anxiety with that. I've had some very experienced teams in the past opening the season, and you know exactly what to expect from them. And we've had a lot of inexperienced teams, and you don't know what to expect. How are they going to handle these situations? What situations are going to come up in the game that we're going to handle well, and which ones are we going to handle poorly? And how is that going to affect the game? And then you do a mad dash of trying to teach to go from week 0 to week 1 to try to correct all the things that didn't go well.
And Coach, you had to be really excited, especially down the stretch of the game when every play mattered, especially in the fourth quarter and then into the double overtimes. But how your quarterback, J.L. Davis, kind of responded when the stakes were the highest.
Well, and that's the value of experience. JL played a lot of football last year. He kept his calm. He was poised throughout the night. When things didn't go well, he was a leader, and he directed the offense well. And then when we had to have a play, he stepped up and made plays. He made some beautiful throws, some hidden things like throwing the ball away instead of trying to force some balls in and not turning it over. He did an absolute exceptional job of that, protecting the football, and then when to pull it down and run it. He made a huge run there at towards the end of regulation on 4th down to tie the ball game. Made a great decision in the second overtime of where to go with the ball, which allowed for a pretty easy touchdown in the second overtime. It was a one-play score from the 10-yard line, so. Just doing things like that, experience and being poised and calm. And an inexperienced quarterback may lose his cool or become really nervous in some of those situations.
Well, Friday night, it came down to that 2-point conversion there in double overtime. Had you guys, how much time do you guys spend in practice kind of going over situations like that?
Well, we do an overtime period in preseason camp and try to make sure our kids are prepared for every possible scenario. We can't do that, but we try. But we do an overtime period. They knew what to expect. They were prepared for it. But the 2-point conversion, the guy was open. They actually, if he would have caught it, it was a penalty. They had an illegal formation, so they would have replayed the down. But we were able to decline the penalty because the ball wasn't caught. It was kind of just out of his reach, and he had a chance to catch it. But it was a great scheme on their part. They drug a guy across the field. We got kind of caught in a little bit of the traffic. And, I mean, he was open. So it was a well-planned play. They just didn't finish the play. So, but again, they were penalized for illegal formation, so it would not have counted anyway.
And then, Coach, I know you talked about the kicking game. You got some things to clean up. A lot of coaches say the biggest area or the biggest time for improvement is from game 1 to game 2. Talk about cleaning up the kicking game and cleaning up those mistakes as you face a huge rival in Decatur. We know how much that means to the city.
Well, 2 big things. Our punt snaps were poor. We worked that all week. We've made a couple of minor changes there, and and we're hopefully got that problem resolved. And then we were penalized a ton on both offense, defensively, and in special teams. So we worked a lot this week to clean up the penalties. A lot of our penalties were pre-snap penalties and post-play penalties. And those are discipline issues that we've tried to make sure and get corrected. We've harped on those all week. They weren't live action penalties. So, we've got to be more disciplined. And a lot of that comes with the emotions of the game. It comes with the nervousness of a first game. Experience will take care of some of those things. But they're kids. So, we've got to learn from them and move on. But those are the big things we've got to make sure and clean up.
Yeah, you go from one emotional game to Hartselle to another emotional game in the River City rivalry with Decatur this week. That's a tough, emotional 2-game stretch, Coach.
Absolutely, and we do it. We've done it for years now where, we want to test our football team, and we want to test them early before we get in region play. 2 of the more pressure-packed games we play are our rivalry games. They're going to be the best environment with the biggest crowds. So what better way to test your team and break them into 2 rivalry games back to back right off the bat with an inexperienced team? But I think it prepares us for region play. Because we're going to get into region play where at some point, once we get into the thick of region play, we're going to be playing for a region championship or a number 2 spot or a number 3 spot or to get into the playoffs, however that unfolds. And there's going to be a lot of pressure. Well, the pressure now prepares us for that pressure. And then, of course, playoff football, when you lose, you're done.
And we're talking to Coach Jeremy Perkins. This is his starting his 15th season with the Austin Black Bears. They're now 1-0, 34-33 winners over the Hartselle Tigers, and they are the ESPN 97.7 The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. Coach, I know you, Coach Ritter. It's a new era of Decatur football. He's taken over that program. They had a rough opening against a good Buckhorn team on the road. I know you've been watching film. Your thoughts on the matchup coming up over on Austin's campus Friday night?
Well, these are early games. It's tough to gauge the matchup. We only have one film on them.
Right.
They're a young football team. So, and then a new coaching staff, and Coach Ritter and I have never been on opposite sidelines, so I'm unfamiliar with him. I got a lot of respect for him. I've heard a lot of great things. Met him, talked to him, quite a few times now, and think he's an outstanding man, and he's an outstanding coach. He'll do a great job at Decatur. But it's, these games 1 and games 2 are very, you got to kind of prepare for everything because you don't know exactly what you're going to get. As we get into the season, tendencies start to show up and patterns start to show up, and you can prepare a lot better. But right now, it's a chess match, and you don't get to figure out what moves to make until you get out there on Friday night. All you can prepare for is what you know, and then try to hopefully cover the unknowns. And so it's a very unfamiliar opponent, even though Decatur's a familiar opponent, but the staff and team is pretty new. So, there'll be some nervousness about what they're going to do and what tricks they have up their sleeve, so to speak.
And Coach, we haven't talked to you. What are your thoughts now on the change in the playoffs with the maybe not matching up against Birmingham and traveling to South Alabama?
I think it's a good change. Just simply the redundancy. 7A, you don't have many options, and to match up the same regions and have kind of the same scenarios year in, year out. And this will be an interesting change to see how it plays out. We won't know whether we're for or against it till after we see it. But I'm very excited about the change, and getting to play some new teams possibly, and we'll have to travel a little bit more potentially. But I think it's a good change.
Well.
Well, best of luck on Friday night, Coach. Austin, Decatur, and congratulations on becoming the first 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week for 2024.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Jeremy Perkins, head coach of the Austin Black Bears, our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week, the first of many in 2024. Let's get a break in. Your tomorrow's headlines will wrap us up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Looks like they have canceled the injury response on all of our accidents. Newest one's Lynn and Bradford. It's got some blockage. Nobody hurt. Southbound Research Park near 565. Stanley and Lee still trying to clear. Nick Davis and Pettis Road also could still be working. You need help covering a leave of absence or maybe completing a special project? Snelling can help. Snelling's been partnering with the best companies for over 65 years. Office to admin, accounting to HR. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The Huntsville Men's Clinic open in 2020 for guys who get it done. Let's talk, fellas. You solve problems all day at work. You fix your sink when it's broken. But when it comes to ED and low T, it doesn't get done. We get it. You hate going to the doctor, but you're the guy that fixes things. At the Huntsville Men's Clinic, there's nothing to fear and no reason to delay. We've been destroying bedroom boredom for years. Our friendly, discreet team of urologists and doctors will take the time to listen. So if you haven't fixed this, call us. When the pills fail, call us. If you feel like you've tried everything, call us. Here, there's hope. From the conventional to the next level. We even offer treatments for size increase with instant results. Imagine finally taking care of this with no surgery. It's time to be confident. Join the thousands of guys who have found success after walking through our doors. Will you be one of them? Dial 256-368-0333 or go to HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com to schedule a $99 male performance consultation, including blood work. Do it for you. Do it for her. HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. Book your appointment now.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. and I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary, but it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Oh, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Indeed, your tomorrow's headlines today. That was a great interview with Jeremy Perkins, and I totally forgot that Class 7A, now they mixed everything up because they announced it last year before the season that they were going to redo the playoff regions. And it totally slipped my mind in week 0 that they were actually that, wait a minute. Now, at the end of the year, now we actually do get that. So instead of being 3 and 4 versus each other, now it's, I think, 1 and 4 and 2 and 3 this year. I think that's how it is. It could be 2-4, 1-3, but I forgot that the change was happening.
Yeah, they're matching up now. Region 4 matching up with Mobile. And the South Alabama region, as they like to call it, in 7A.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be just a little bit different. And like Coach Perkins said, travel. You're going to have to travel. If you don't host, you're going to have a pretty good road trip on your hands to go down to South Alabama and play on a Friday night. But it'll be a good change, though, and give a different feel to the playoffs. And we all know the track record of success. That it was not much for our region against the region of death, as I like to call it, against Birmingham.
Didn't have a lot of success.
No.
And that's not, you go all the way back. It's been several years.
No, it's been since they went to the 7A classification.
All right. 256-576-4977. Now would be a good time if you want to call. Now you got more than like a minute if you want to get in. On the show, one thing we have not had a chance to get through because we have been busy with a lot of college football conversation. The Atlanta Braves get a win last night in 10 innings over the Minnesota Twins, 8-6 win.
Blew a lead, but came through in the 10th, 4-run 10th, built an 8-4 lead, and then Pierce Johnson holds on for dear life to get the strikeout with the winning run at the plate. But the Braves win 8-6 to take a series over a good Minnesota team. Now they got a chance to sweep them today with Chris Sale on the mound, which is huge because maybe be able to give the bullpen right now is getting a little taxed. And, so we'll see. That's another new term I've learned, taxing, which means you're overpricing everything.
Right.
Which would be they're getting a little taxed and overworked. Pierce had worked 3 of the last 4 days. So potentially you'd like to see Chris Sale get deep into the game, give you 7, 8, 9 innings and have a chance to, sweep the Minnesota Twins and continue to put pressure on the Phillies because they've got a huge series coming up in Philadelphia this weekend where, it may decide the division race here if the Braves are going to stay in it for the long term. But, this band of misfits, so to speak, that the Braves are putting out there on the field.
The duct tape, the glue,
second base, left and right.
Get it done. You're only 6 games back of the Phillies. That's why that series is
third base.
Huge. Yeah.
It's just they've got all these interchangeable parts and pieces due to all these injuries. And yet the pitching has continued to be at the forefront. The starting pitching lately has been really, really good. The bullpen's been good all year. And now the lineup is getting a little more consistent, even with, Ozzie Albies still out with the injury. Austin Riley, we know that, and and they finally got Michael Harris back. But it's just been so many injuries to this Braves lineup, and yet they're still right there.
All right, one rule, though, college football did make a change. I don't know if you saw this. It's the red shirt rule.
Okay.
Players still can only play in 4 regular season games.
Yeah.
But there's now a new waiver that college freshmen, if you're going to red shirt, if you play in a conference championship game, a college football playoff game, or the national championship game, any of those games do not count now towards redshirting. So you can play, you can only play in 4 regular season games, but as a freshman, if you want to play in bowl games, college football playoff games, or anything like that, it does not count towards your 4 games. So you could play in 9 games as a freshman and still redshirt in college football. So you might see that with some freshmen this season, play key moments, play 9 games, still then keep that extra year if they want to.
Well, we thank Armin Katayan. What a great segment that was.
Good interview.
The price. Check that book out. Richard Edwards going to buy it today. We appreciate Blake Borden. Huge cross-country meet coming up on the 13th and the 14th of September.
I'll be there.
And then Scott certainly will. And then, of course, the Bryant Bank Team of the Week via ESPN 97.7 The Zone, the Austin Blackbears.
All right, guys.
Congratulations.
And Grady the Greek. We even had Grady the Greek on
7th
there.
grader prognosticator coming off the DL.
Yes. What a Wednesday.
Looking for your next game day party destination? Well, think outside the box and kick back at Flosa Premier. And you may be thinking, isn't that the trampoline place? Of course it is. But it's also the one-stop spot for all things